sorry, I was in the chair for a while, so I was coming and going, so apologies. But I've read, you know, all the information that I suppose we are all aware of. And it's like everything in life, unless you're in that position or a family member is in that position, and that you really realise how, I suppose, that the system is not functioning right. And I think that's something that we do need to address. And I suppose my biggest concern is that we do have an excellent Minister, Minister Anne Rabbitte, for disabilities. But for the last few months, Minister Rabbitte was meant to be, part of her remit was to be under children. Now, Minister Rabbitte is still under health with Stephen Donnelly, and that for me is a huge concern. So I would ask the committee today that we write to the departments, the officials in the department, and we write to Minister Donnelly asking when will Minister Rabbitte be actually within the remit of children, because I think that's so important. And also to ask what exactly now, because Minister Rabbitte has been moved over to a different department, what exactly will her functions be? And what can we do to help this? Because this, I feel, will be a big step. It's going on too long. I think it's unacceptable now at this stage that we are still with Minister Rabbitte under health. So we need to get that clarified. So I would ask that as part of this group that we would look to get that clarified. When is the time date and exactly what is Minister Rabbitte's functioning, and what can we do to make sure that we give our full support and get this sorted. As I said, some of my questions were answered, and I was reading some information and I realised that more than 1 in 4 people living with disabilities do not use public transport due to accessibility reasons. And I know in Carlow, my own constituency, where it's only in the next few weeks we will have our train station will be wheelchair accessible. That's unacceptable. We are living in 2021 and we now only have our own Carlow railway station, the main hub of Carlow for commuting, and we did not have a wheelchair accessible railway station. And that's such a big issue, and I think that these are the issues that we need to look at. And we spoke about as well, you know, polling booths. That was, I know, a big issue for the elections, people who are visually impaired for voting. I mean, we need to make sure that we do this. And another even example that I'm working on is Carlow Garda Station is not wheelchair accessible. And these are things that shouldn't be allowed to happen. And it's something that we on a committee shouldn't allow to happen. So I think these are the areas that we really do need to focus on. And, you know, again, it's like previous speakers, like I know Carly and Gabe and them have spoke about, you know, like it's so important when you are in a position that you're constantly fighting, and you seem to be fighting a battle there that you feel, you know, that there needs to be more awareness about, there needs to be more understanding about. And I know even I am constantly, and education came up with Carly, SNAs and special classrooms. I mean, these are something that we need to make sure that we prioritise more, and it's something that I'm really dedicated to. So I just feel that all of us as a committee here will be 100% committed to working and achieving what we need to achieve for people with disabilities, to make sure that, you know, that there is access, there is understanding, there is awareness. And I just want to thank you again for coming in today. And again, I'm sorry I did miss some of it because I was speaking. So thank you very much. But a lot of the questions that I were going to ask has been asked. Thank you, and thank you, Chair.
Okay, Rennie, would you like to address some of the points from either Senator Murnane or Deputy O'Connor? Rennie, you're on mute.
I do beg your pardon. In trying to be well behaved, I was too well behaved and silenced. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Yes.
Okay, I'll proceed, and I will be brief. I think this discussion has been very interesting, and I'm very conscious that the purpose of today's broad discussion is for participation in political, cultural, community and public life. And I think that while we're talking about all the other elements, it just goes to show that this is a holistic thing. It's not just one standalone issue to see that society demonstrates the diversity that properly represents society. I'm always mystified and surprised to find when a constituency is as large as 650,000 people, and if each of those with a disability only has 2 people who care about them, and believe me, there there are more than those, then you're talking about almost 2 million people who are directly or indirectly affected by matters and issues that are that contribute to the failure of society to properly integrate people with disabilities into normal, just day-to-day life as they are entitled. I don't propose on a personal basis to try and give any examples, because I would rather pass the floor to people like Vivian and Annette and others in the group of witnesses who day to day know what they're talking about. But I do believe that if political and public life to a greater extent represented more people with disabilities, then things like assessment of need would be sharper and pointier and better understood by the public representatives and delivered better, because there'd be clear lived understanding of the issue. Because no matter what, until you walk a mile in somebody, and I think Councillor Connolly has made that point very, very, very appropriately. So thank you, Chair, for your time.
Thank you very much.